So,
Se va moragia. Well, point down how much?
no, thank you.
Boom. In the spirit.
Yeah. Passo por lá, yeah. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
Today we're welcoming this one.
So no one yet on Zoom.
So today we're welcoming Kathleen from Brest University.
Thank you.
Florida.
Thank you for the invitation. And I'm happy to be again after 2018. So I will speak about the common work with Pierre Cavalier of the University. It's called on inefficiency of movement. So what is it about? So mean fit games are games where there's an infinity of infinitesimal players, or in other words, where each player, instead of basically a big number of individuals, takes part of the continuum of anonymous agents, and where the game is evolves. Where the game is evolving according what all the players win, but where each individual player only has an agent making to the influence on it. Okay? And so one of the
digital influence on the players of others.
no, not of the player of himself, but of the answer. So, yes, please interrupt me and ask. Yes, and so the main rule of it is, of course, with Nash equilibria. And so, about Nash equilibria, so after the question, what is Nash equilibria, this kind of games where may I ask who they exist, are they unique, how to characterize them, how to approach them, can they be approached by learning, by natural movement, what is the link between the Nash equilibrium and its link game and in end player games when end becomes large and so on. Okay, and there's another thing that you can imagine is that instead of letting the player play, you can have a global planner who decides the action that everybody has to take. So of course, since the global planner can decide for everyone, usually he can give as good payoff for everybody than as for nothing. Okay, and we say that the movement is efficient, it cannot do better. It means that the community does not need some global planner who forces people to their happiness, but is naturally going on by that. Okay? So this is what we have studied, and so we show that as usual end player games. So we say that a game is efficient, it's global player cannot do better than the Nash equilibrium, and we hold that in general, as usual, games are not efficient. We do some necessary provision for it when it is efficient and when it's not efficient, then it's creates a difference that can be done by between the Nash equilibrium. And if there's time, I can speak about some application where we use these results to some comparison between unit of nuclear games. these are references. So the main references are what these ones. So the first references are the 70s, the 80s. There's economic literature about non-atomic games, and it's the really first paper which developed the main terms of model everybody is still working on this paper last week in one final who developed it in parallel. So after that there's a literature that is exploding exponentially, so at that science not important. The one of common who's about coming from the stochastic point of view and the math equation, but I don't know people don't know about the big. Here's the outline. So production is what I will doing. Then I will spend much time to introduce you, introducing tools and what we are thinking about, defining things to translate it in systems of partial differential equations. And then after all this, I can speak about efficiency or inefficiency and after that. Okay. So this is, so we will start from an n clear game and then suppose that n tends to infinity and show how we can approach this n clear game when n is large by something, while instead of n clear, we have a continuum. Okay. So this differential game is nearly this simplest differential game of working. So you have for each player, so you have n, each player has a dynamic that is defined here by the differential. Okay, so what you see here is that at the beginning it starts in some random position, then we see here. Yeah, are here running values, so this means that the dynamic also leads to RE. Okay. These are grounding motions. And all player get what is called the private noise. It means that everybody has his own independent parameters. Okay. This is a stronger sign. Say,
what is X? What are the pairs?
the pairs actually. It's the motion. Where I actually feel this. For the beginning, this is the dynamic. So everybody has some dynamics that represent its position in the game. That is good. So this is an stochastic differential equation, but it's so simple that you can also write it.
So if I understand it correctly,
Yes,
X can be my growth rate, whatever stock I have,
yes,
right? And then on top of that, I'm going to have the dependence.
yes. This, yes, which I just wanted to say that this differential equation is not really a differential equation because you can also write it directly in an integrated form like this. Okay. So what the player can choose is this process alpha.
Initial point is Z.
Yes, it's an initial point, it's ZI. ZI is random. And then you observe that afterwards, all player has the same behavior can be are interchangeable. All these initial points are independent, but of the same.
And after is a process,
And after that, yeah,
it's a function of T.
yes. Yes, and alpha, yes, alpha. Yes, alpha, the alphas are control processes, also eigenvalues, of course. Invariance is formula, and it is of the type. For each alpha I of t, so it's a random process, which is in equation of strong emotion, but it is always the deterministic function of the position of the player, the I player, and of the position of the other.
But what determines the position of the X per time?
This the equation.
The equation is
Yes. Yes, so you have a position where you can think about the position of your driving something, and the way you drive depends on what, on your control and on your nose. So with your
currently
yes,
The only word that you recognize is player. When I see a game, I know that player is free.
yes,
I don't see payoffs, I don't see action.
okay, so okay. Okay, so it's very good point. So the actions are this.
It's not action.
Yes, so what here they can choose the player are yes, are that's feedback. So each player can choose a function.
But which was advanced.
No, along the play. Every team should.
Every teacher.
No.
I choose. Oh.
Function. It depends on where you are, but where you are.
Let us choose its function. When the game begins,
Mhm.
choose
Yes,
simultaneous.
yes,
In discrete time, we would call X the pay and alpha the stationary strategy and
yes.
J the.
Mhm. Since it's a little bit, everything is a little bit confused because otherwise it is more complicated. So here we choose the contours only dependent on the position. You can also imagine an arbitrary contour that depends on the whole history of the game. It could depend on the strategy of the other players, the action of the other players, and so on. Here we just think it can only depend on us position of the player.
What is the word big G?
Big G, now the correspondent, this is a payoff. This is the payoff. So the payoff of the I depends on the strategies for control of everybody. And this is an expectation of something. Here you have two parts. So this is the terminal payoff.
Somebody is outside reading.
This is the big here.
Here's outside reading.
Yeah, this outside integral is a terminal. Depends on the position of the players at the end. As we work on finally. Here's the running cost. The running cost depends on what area, what it is, on its control, and on the position of the asset. Okay. Yeah. So again, this is very simple because you could imagine that depends on the action of the other player and so on, but you technically as like responsible principle that is on one. The view of that will take infinity and have anonymous interchangeable players with suppose that so for LNG are deterministic and they are symmetric in what they are.
An example for this game can be the pursuit of driver and runner. This is an example.
Yes, after that, after that we will let them the number of players to infinity. And they will have all symmetric payoffs and symmetric influence on players. So I think if you think about drivers and following principle is not clear.
It's not.
What can you mention as an example? One typical example is a crowd of people who have to go from one place to another.
A race, boat race.
If not a race, everybody comes from somewhere and want to go somewhere. And they have to pass through streets where everybody is going. You can imagine a
And that cost
competitive
the time.
It's cost the time.
Okay.
And it depends on, of course, where you are, what effort you make, and also on the position of the other players. So if there are many players where you're fighting through, it is worth if those players are. Yeah. And I wrote in mean satisfying convenient assumption, because there are a lot of assumptions about boundedness and the equilibrium and so on. It's not very interesting to speak of all of them. The examples is the functions are image. Okay. So this is
Can I ask
yeah.
another question?
Yes, please.
To what class of functions will the alpha z belong?
We will show that there will be very space something really be able to decide its optimal strategy. This will be functions which are continuous in both terms in x and in past.
So in general, any continuous function.
Any continuous. Yes, if not continuous, no, you don't need continuous, you just need that it's a deterministic function. So in particular, the Brownian motion here is observing everything so that you really
Measurable function?
measure. Yes.
Measurability.
Yes. But if you drop the Brownian motion, the optimal strategies will be bang. And so you can jump always. This private noise is very important to make everything smooth and you will be able to use continuously.
You mind with the formal definition of bang?
Huh?
Bang?
Bang is if you
You cross a threshold, you jump from.
yes, because you need to optimize something. So it's minimum, sometimes it's on a corner and sometimes it's just to the other corner. So, yeah. So I always try to embrace what we call formal sites. If you remember, you don't need to write it, and you have to take attention to what is not. And so what we want to do is with an n to infinity, and we will change the dependence on n layer by the dependence on the distribution of the. Okay? And so since we have supposed that L and G are symmetric in the other players here, what we can suppose is that instead of depending on all the other players, before, yeah, we can say, suppose that L is exactly the same, to say that L depends again on position of the first player, of the I player, and on the empirical distribution. Yes, is it okay?
So M replaces the, what is M replacing?
M is replacing, so instead you can.
M is a measure.
M is a measure. So what we want to do is, if you have a lot of players everywhere, you can say that this cost function depends on this player and this player and this player and this player. Okay, it's the position of this player. And if there are many players, if the number of players tends to infinity, what we want to replace is many players by something where we say the distribution of the players is, for instance, from Gaussian distribution. And so what we say here, this distribution, so this is 1 and this is 2 and this is 1, 2. This dependence can be, we can define here, these are the Dirac measures.
The measure of the position of the players other than I.
Yes.
I understand.
Yes.
Okay. No,
For the moment, this is why there's an experience.
yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, and this is equivalent. If you cannot distinguish the players to depend on this empirical distribution, it's the same as if you depend on each player. The same here. And so, what we can also assume that if this payoff is symmetric in the other players, and if it depends only on the empirical measure of the position of the player, we can also suppose that the contours just depend on this.
Okay, negative is immaterial.
They're not immaterial, but you cannot distinguish them.
It's not identical. It's just a mass.
Just the mass. You know that somebody's here, somebody's here, somebody's here, but
You don't get who exactly.
you don't care. Why is it? Okay. So here we just transform it a little bit in view of our limit. And so here's our J, and here's still the same. Always keep the same dynamic. We will keep the same easy dynamic everywhere for during the whole on a payoff. And now what we do is to let then the number of players to infinity. Okay, and we have a result. So under some assumptions, that if there are more and more players, then there's at least one subsequence of n such that all this empirical mean then to a deterministic distribution.
What happens to the initial points?
So
You had previously n initial points, so what
Yes.
happens in between?
at the limit it is the same. We have this is interesting. So that what do you have at the beginning? At the beginning, you can exactly show what happens because you will have the initial points is x0 and I. Okay, and all the zi's are independent and identically distributed. Okay, so here you have the what happens now. So you have here the direct measure. Right? This is equal to n-1, 3. Okay. What happens to this distribution? It's like when you make statistical tests. If you have a sample of a large number of IID copies of an initial law, if the sample grows, the empirical distribution converges to the law of the initial distribution. Okay. So this will tend to the law of that that is the same law as for everybody.
And
Yes.
convergence of measures is weak convergence, so
Here this yes you can use you can but all thesis under in the Weissenstein and convergence. Yeah.
It used to be J index I. Now in the last row, there's no index.
It's like yeah, this is the next step.
And then comes all the players.
So what we get here is, so we said that just for samples, statistical samples, if you let the numbers of the samples to infinity, at the end we have a deterministic distribution. Okay, this is deterministic distribution for all t. There's a deterministic distribution. It is a limit. Okay, we have a function from t to the set of measure, and then at the end, so g is continuous. It's always continuous in nature, and it tends to the expectations payoff where it, again, it still depends on the position of the player, on what he's playing, and of the distribution of everybody. Okay? And here, if you take everybody except one, the limit does not depend on it. So everybody has the same dependence on the same distribution where it say belongs or
if any grows in a different way, you might end up with a different limit. So
here,
it depends on the subsequence, right?
yes, here, yes, but what we will do now is to suppose that everybody will use the same. Okay?
Is it more than a compactness argument?
Yes, this is here the convergences are Zeta schooling.
Yeah.
This is
Because the functions depend on.
yes, here are the functions of the measure. So you show it first before on a compact support, and then you can generalize it.
So this is, I'm not sure about the answer, let me rephrase the question. The third bullet, is it a pretty easy consequence of the compactness argument, or do you need something more?
Yes, but the line after that,
Hmm?
for every x and alpha, you have a function depending on n. And you need the convergence to happen regardless of these things.
Yeah, that's right.
No,
No, what
even
is
if the line you have, so you have in the third point, the first line is a
Yes.
matter of compactness,
Yes,
right?
and here you have a continuity argument. A is continuous in the measures.
So
The third bullet?
the third bullet, you
Yeah.
say that the first line is a result of compactness.
No, the whole bullet. The whole bullet. The convergence of the measures and the convergence of the payoffs. So my question is whether this is just compactness argument or more than that.
The first one is compactness, or it's the right based on compactness argument. It's the second one, is the continuity of this functional with respect to measures. So if here ni tends to nt, the whole function of ni tends to it's the same with nt itself. And here it is not the small it's
But what's I? As k goes to infinity,
here's the I here.
yes, what's I?
Here's the I. This is the I is here. It's beginning. What you our payoff at the beginning depends on what you are playing, where you are, what you're playing, and on the opposite players. And there's a difference between the dependence of your position and on the other one. And so this is why here, in empirical measure here, if you replace all the other players, you replace it by the empirical distribution of the other.
But the limit of Ji is the same for all players, right?
Yes. No, it's not. For the moment, I didn't suppose that everybody plays the same thing.
But who's I? There were 10 players previously, and now there's 100. So who's
Yeah. But you're still you.
I? You're still me.
You fix an eye, I guess, but if I understand
Yeah.
correctly, you fix an eye,
Mhm.
but the number of players is very, very large, and it's still the same eye. And essentially because you have an expectation, right? You need all the L's to converge in the same speed regardless of X. Because otherwise the expectation might be very, very large, might be quite far away from where you start.
What happened here? We have some, no, it is here, if you, whatever the pair will always converge, so the empirical distribution.
Yeah,
always
the empirical distribution converges. So then when you go to the L's,
Yeah.
right? It could be for one X, I don't know, epsilon away, for another X and 2 epsilon away, for another X and 100 epsilon away. So you need some sort of boundedness condition so that the expectation will be.
No, it's not. It's very, because the X does not, here, okay, yeah, you're right, the X are changing because
Yeah,
the one is changing. Okay, so you have some arguments on the one.
You have a vector of alpha, but the length of that vector changes.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
what happens to the vector? What happens to the strategies?
you have still one strategy for each.
How come the
player.
alpha j, there's no k index to the alpha?
Here there's no index, so the payoffs does not depend on the strategies of the other players, only through the common distribution and through the control of the player who depends on this common distribution.
Don't get that. You have a vector whose length changes with k.
You have more and more players.
And what are the strategies of these pairs?
The strategies,
Right.
anyhow, if you have some strategies, so okay, here you can, so what you can do immediately is immediately suppose that everybody. So you don't, so again, I speak always assumptions and I can to get something nice. So here, what is important is to suppose that everybody is. Why? Because again, what we're looking for are situations of equilibria, or disequilibria are satisfied when everybody is. Okay. So what happens if everybody has the same strategy? Then we will have at the limit a dynamic, so everybody will have the same dynamic of this type. And what's the I? Here's the M is the distribution, the common distribution, limit of distribution when n tends to infinity.
And the noise.
Huh?
The noise also is shown by.
No, this is the typical, now we are in a continuum. Okay, and you are just one player in this continuum, everybody plays the same.
No, but B.
And so everybody has a dynamic of this type.
But B used to be individual.
Yes.
Now it is uniform.
This is what you are. This is your dynamic. Okay, so each player has such a dynamic, but since the other players now only are here in the MP, which is deterministic, you don't care about the noise of the other one. You just have to look on your own dynamic, that is some dynamic that depends on your position, on the strategy you're choosing, and the deterministic technique. Then there's some noise. And if you have another player, you will have the same dynamics with his private noise.
Private noise.
This is still the same private noise. I just dropped the I because everybody will get exactly this. Yes. The payoffs. Well,
This payoff that's identical for all the pairs.
the payoff is identical for all the pairs.
So is it like a common interest game?
So the common interest game, I don't know what is common interest game, it is a game where everybody at the equilibrium, since everything is,
This is not a problem,
related, huh?
Okay, why not?
because it's the same pair function, but the pair depends on what you do. Different people do different things and get different pairs.
So different, individuals get different pairs.
Mhm.
Yeah. But the game is made the same function. It's like a.
But then it should be indexed on the J, big J. Different pairs are getting.
No, they have the same pair of functions. They have the same set of action. And it's a symmetric game. So they have the same pair of functions. The pair that they get depends on their action and the distribution of actions of the other. So if two players take different actions, they get different pairs. They have the same pair of functions, but different pairs.
The last convergence is in the same sense of the upper one, that is, there exists a subset of times and so on. What does the convergence sign mean
Here,
on the?
this one,
I don't see the radio, but
this one,
yes, this one.
no, this one is just a map. T maps
It's
to
a map.
empty. It's just to say that since this is just the deterministic function, the laws of the dynamics are all the same.
And the convergence result is.
The convergence.
Good thought.
Then what you get is like in what we said here, that if everybody has the same kind of dynamic, we have a conditional n that is n is the lower. Okay? This is that's what I explained to you before. This is like a statistical sample. You have a lot of for all xt of the same law and are independent, so that the distribution of an infinity of such x is just the law. Yes. Okay. And so now this is ours. This thing is dividing this so here. And the condition of n is what is n is the law of its. This is the limit. Okay. Now we can define an equilibrium. This is Nash equilibrium. But we suppose now so Nash equilibrium is a control that is played by everybody. It will be alpha bar. Position of the player here. Is alpha bar, m bar is distribution if everybody plays. And so if everybody places equal as before, we have the player gets this pair. Okay, as before. What happens if somebody negates, if one single player negates, if you place some arbitrary control alpha, then what he gets is here the dependence x instead of the x bar against x alpha. This strategy alpha. Choose a strategy alpha, and what is important in infinite game, which what simplifies also the analysis is simply there's only one player. Actually, you suppose that one single player is debating. It's one single player is debating. The distribution of the other ones doesn't change. Okay, so here the dependence of the other ones and of the common distribution is just unchanged. Okay, so this is a Nash equilibrium. Is it okay? Yeah.
Why do you have an upper bar over the end? Yeah.
Because I suppose that it is so. Since it's the alpha bar, it's the Nash equilibrium. So it's M bar, it's the low of the X bar.
But the single pair does not affect the distribution of the.
Yeah, yes,
Yes.
yes, here, if one player deviates, so if everybody play alpha bar, everybody gets 6. And if one player deviates, he gets payoffs that depends on his position, his control, but the distribution of the continuum of player doesn't change because of a single player. Okay? This is the real point. Yes. Okay. So if you have a continuum, one player does something else, you not, if you look at the distribution, you not see.
Will it be the inequality? Shouldn't it be yourself?
It's cost, it's a cost.
Yes.
It's the cost.
Yes.
Okay. Mhm.
So this means that we can affect the construction of infinite things, Nash equilibrium. Namely, what we can do is first fix an M bar, a distribution, and for all fixed function of distribution, if M bar is fixed, you will see that the alpha bar is the control that minimizes the failure. Okay, and since it's very nice, why? Because it fits into a deterministic kind. It's just a parameter. So when you want to minimize over all controls, this payoff is just a simple control problem. Okay, so you can solve it as a simple problem, and you get an alpha that depends on this M bar that achieves the minimum. Okay, and then you remember that you are an infinite, so that this M bar must be taken in order that M bar is the law of the X bar that comes from the alpha bar. And this is a fixed point argument. Okay?
Is this alpha bar unique?
No. No M bar, no alpha bar.
Not the equilibrium, but the test is small.
No. In general, nothing is unique, but you have assumptions. For instance, you have one important assumption, the monotony assumption that says that the cost is less if the distribution is flat, if there's no concentration. If you suppose that more people are concentrated, that better your cost is, then you don't have a uniqueness, because if everybody is concentrated here, it is as good as everybody is concentrated here and so on. But if you have this monotony assumption,
So this assumption not lead to some sort of in a sense, continuing the conclusion. I guess if you want to discuss the requirement of the central planner, here you would like people to behave. They are more flat, they are more misbehaved. So you want to someone convince us
no,
to become
no,
concentrated.
because also the global planner, he wants that everybody is happy. So for instance, if you think about the road that everybody wants to go somewhere, also the global planner wants that there will be.
So the global planner-
Yes, what is the global planner doing? So here what we have is Nash equilibrium in the standard sense. Okay,
At the top, it says that J is payoff, but we say it's not payoff, it's cost.
yes. Or payoffs, sorry. Yes, of course.
Another question, is the infinite a minimum or?
Yes, under good assumption, it is a minimum. Yes. And we will see it. I think probably I would reach the problem of efficiency, whatever. So that's what I expect. Okay. So before, or if you want to see what is the problem of the global planet here, is just quite the same. Again, everybody has the same dynamic. We are looking for something good, given that everybody has to place the same control. And the global planner wants that everybody will be as happy as possible, so pay as less as possible. And so he will look on some alpha that achieves the inflow, just the inflow of the payoff. Or in other words, it's the inflow over alpha controls M, where M has to be the law of the outcoming strategy. Dynamics. Yeah.
How can he change the law? He can only change the law at 0, no?
The law, which is this law,
The MT.
the empty. No, the empty is coming naturally. If everybody plays alpha, then your law empty is the distribution of the
So it's not an infinite over alpha and m, it's a minimum over alpha.
It's a minimum over alpha and m, where m and alpha are even. Yes. Okay. Because they are interconnected. Alpha will depend on m, and m depends obviously on alpha. So it's a couple. It's a minimum over all couple where if everybody plays alpha, then m.
So just to be clear, the only thing that can be changed here is alpha. Even M0 cannot be changed. That's fixed.
M0 is,
So only alpha can be.
yeah.
But all the alphas, when you change the alphas, they should still satisfy this constraint.
Yeah.
What do you mean satisfy this constraint?
That MT is the law of
Oh, so he doesn't have any equilibrium.
Here you don't need so. This is the difference, because if you take look for natural equilibrium, people have to have an equilibrium. So the condition is to say if you deviate, if you are simple deviator, you don't gain something. And here, just the global player just both, you have to play alpha. If everybody plays alpha, then it's the best possible.
There's still an incentive not to deviate.
Plunge for electoral rights.
We try to control it. I wonder, this alpha that the controller, the trying to achieve,
Yes,
is it an equivalent in the sense that there's no incentive for any player to deviate once you assume everybody's playing out?
look, everybody's playing alpha. Here's a global player fix that everybody's playing alpha. But in this, if you are a single player, there's no guarantee that if you change, you could not be better. It's like a Fibonacci lemma
Could be better for the individual to be.
for the individual, not for everyone. Yeah,
What incentive is there for me as an individual to follow the planners?
because the planner is responsible. It's plain, it decide for me. The idea of the planner decides for everybody, and if everybody agrees, everybody is happy. If somebody, yes, like it's a dilemma, if you force everybody to play, be quiet, everybody is happy, but if you don't force them, you can individually debate and stay.
Yeah, individually it's okay.
Yes, yes. Yes, and this is why you need a global clear to stand up and do it. And this is why it will be better, because it's an infimum over all structures.
So still the social planner must assume that everybody uses the same control.
Mhm.
And if it was not the case, maybe he could do better, the social planner.
Then the problem would not be what
yes,
What do you mean? For example, if I say half of the duties.
you can define it, but it's the solution of everybody, but what's the. Yes, if if the people are doing different things, you have to deal with it. It's
very different.
Yes, it is possible, but what is important here is that if you suppose that everybody does the same thing, then you can correct it. If you have this problem, or if you have this problem, you can exactly define what is alpha, what is the payoff, what is the cost. Okay. Perhaps it will be better if somebody plays something different, but it cannot be managed. This is the power of the optimistic aims to say if everybody does the same thing, then we can continue with it. Yes. But this is if we are coming back to our problem, is to say yes. But yes, perhaps it's clear to see everybody has the global player decides the alpha for everybody. And he knows that if everybody plays some alpha, then the payoff will be of this type where M is the law of X. And so he has to choose an alpha such that this attains the minimum. Okay? But if you choose the alpha, then you get the M, and then it is minimum the payoff which the weight of alpha means. Yeah. Yes, and of course, if the global player imposes this, then if it's a minimum over all alpha, it's obviously at least as good as Nash equilibrium payoff, because the Nash equilibrium is not Nash equilibrium. And what I said before is we say that the game is sufficient if there's an important. If there's no need of a global planner, again, as for the prisoner dilemma, you need the global planner to force everybody to not to speak. And like some other games, they just need the Nash equilibrium with us. So what we
I would think that maybe it's the same notion, but maybe it should have been that instead of having an alpha, a Nash equilibrium that satisfies this condition, it should be that the infimum over all Nash equilibrium.
No, the infimum of the Nash. Oh, yes, this is the case. Yes, you can say if the infimum over all Nash equilibrium is equal to yes, yes, this is. Yes, but we've done is to conditions to get efficiency, and in general, what we can estimate is the difference of between the Nash equilibrium fields and the basic Google planner, yeah, and to relate this to something that is like the price of energy.
Very reminiscent of price of anarchy
Yes.
question.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes, with the Google planner is a bit, it's a ranking dictator, but
Usually the inverse of that, which is called the possible.
yeah,
Maybe it's the cost.
yes, here we are thinking about costs.
The cost of
Yes.
This was invented in Dubai in '86. I didn't know that. The term price of anarchy.
He didn't know that either.
Ah.
Yes, here the main difference is that with the difference it's just ratio and you have don't have a ratio like difference between usually the payoffs are not can be negative and so there's no meaning. It's easier to work on this. And now, so I don't know. So what we have is that what we can do is so I show you the result, and then you tell me if you really want to understand it or not. So what we get is what we know that if we have a Nash equilibrium, then it can be so all Nash equilibrium of this system can be exactly conjugated. Okay, and this is what was very important.
Can we know? Can you repeat that?
Conjugated. Can be fine. So yeah, what you see here is Nash equilibrium can be obtained by the following, namely you take here you have the system where there's one function U, this M, second function M. This is a differential equation. This is a differential equation. This is a initial condition. As the initial condition you recognize that it's a law of 0. The initial condition is the initial terminal condition also. Here's the Hamiltonian. Everything is mixed here. Here's the M depends on U, the U depends on M, this is terminal conditions, etc. But if there is a solution, one solution or several solutions, then you put this into the derivative of this Hamiltonian and you define alpha like this. And this is your optimal strategy for the Nash. If everybody is playing this, you get a Nash. Okay? This is why this is why but it really suppose that everybody is playing the same thing. Why it is interesting to play against the nation instead of playing against individual, because you have really the argument system, but you can really have a really model.
I don't understand. I want to see the video. Is it a Nash equilibrium or the
Yes.
best Nash?
All Nash
No.
equilibrium.
No, all Nash equilibrium are solutions. All Nash equilibrium where everybody is.
So what I could say, you show us an equation, you gave us an equation that the all Nash equilibrium are the solution from the.
Yes, you can. How do you this?
Definition for Nash equilibrium, why not just use the advantage of the other thing?
Why this is better than the, because this you can compute, for instance, this is a system of partial differential equations, and you can compute it by numerical methods.
So you put it in the computer outputs the set of all Nash equilibrium.
Yes, I think you can also see on this system what are the assumptions to get a unique solution. So what you can have is what is interesting is, so you have your story about the mean field game, and then if you translate it in this mean field game PDE system, you forget your mean field story, and then you have a PDE system and you have to work with it. Okay. And then it is just a question of how to solve it? Is it solvable? Is there one solution? Is there two solutions? What happens if you drop some assumptions?
Typically, you have one solution or finite dimensional solution.
Um,
Continuum solution.
But it's about. I don't know, but I mainly know when there's one solution, there's several solutions. I don't know. So typically, if L is monotone in M, that means that it is better for the player to be disturbed, to dispatched when there is concentrated and there's one. This is the easy. Yes, and what I can explain you, just I don't do it to the babies. It's really how we get this, because it looks awful, but it's not so. In fact, why? Because what we have said before, if you have a Nash equilibrium here, we said that we can compute it by two steps, fix some arbitrary n, and to solve a control problem, and then look on the n such that it's a fixed point in the sense that m is exactly zero. The system you get here is all of these two. What you do is you fix the function m here. And for a fixed m, you solve the control problem. Here you see the control problem. What you usually do is to solve, so it is a very classical control problem. So you fix m, that's your control problem. What you do is to look on the base, the infimum over alpha. Here, what you just change is to suppose that you start with some arbitrary t, at some arbitrary time, and some arbitrary position. Okay, and if you look on this, if you fix t and x, you take an alpha here. All this is random and depends on tx and alpha. If you take an expectation, it is deterministic and depends on tx and alpha. And if you take the infimum, it's really a deterministic function of t and x. Okay, and this is very standard. This is this solves in Hamilton, that's called the Hamilton Jacobi. This here is the derivative of t. This is the gradient x. This is the Laplacian. This concept Brownian down here. It uses the okay. So this is very standard. And then from this, you get immediately also the optimal. So if m is fixed, you have already the optimal alpha. What is fixed? What is fixed a? Okay. So if you have this Hamiltonian, the supremum of a can be computed. So this is very. Okay. So you have already alpha and you have the function that define the payoff given m. And the second thing, so this is quite true. The second thing is now the fixed point. Now we claim m should be the law of x. Okay, so we have already the alpha that we have computed by as the optimum here. This is p. A star is here, so it is like this here, will be here, here, and then what you know, because of the ground motion, we know that whatever your alpha is here, the measure, even if you start with an arbitrary z, the measure as a law of X will be absolutely continuous for vectors. Okay, so this arbitrary measure M is in fact just the vector measure times some density, and again the density is something else. This is just again a function of time and X. Right? And again, to say that this M is a law of X, this can be described. Okay. Perhaps this I can want to show I should see how we get this because it's easy. Or not. This but in fact this is just coming from the fact that M is a law of X. Okay, this is good. So you have, and here what you see is zero is zero Z. Here you have the terminal condition that is also easy because if we start at like capital T, there's nothing. And if we X start also at capital T, this is just equal to X. So we have the final condition. So, something easy. This is easy, this is easy, and both are. The only difficulty is that we have to couple them and so have a which system that is really tough. Okay. After that, just to look on switch. If you look now on problem of the global planner, it's a little bit more complicated. Why? Because you take the infimum over all alpha and L, which are okay, and so you cannot do first one, so you don't have simply the problem and then the Kolmogorov equation, but this is something that involves both. And this is why here you recover exactly the same term here. It's further.
The new part is the right hand side there, huh?
Yes, it's a bubble.
Okay.
Yes. Here, so it's in the right hand, so this is the same, this is the same, here it's exactly the same feedback, recognize, same initial cut, the same Hamiltonian, and what changed is this part, this ugly part, here's an ugly part, and the dominant condition is also.
Where do we come from?
And this comes that if you write your dynamic, so if you compute your equation of U, you have a dynamic programming principle, and then you make you write this formula, so you develop theories. U plus H minus U and terms with this, and then you get your Hamiltonian equation. And if you do the same with the global planner problem, you have also independence system. So you have an M term. This is a derivative.
And this is before the condition that M has to be the law of X.
It has to be the law of X, and for instance, you have to take the minimum over all X. The fact that it is a law of X, it is just the same. Yeah. It is the same, this is the same, but the minimum over alpha n is additional. And here you can see, for instance, if G is a dominant does not depend on it on M, this is just G of X, it's the same, but if it's dependent on M, the terminal condition of this is also. And so to compare both, what you have to do is just to compare. So one thing that is obvious is to say if a Nash equilibrium is optimal, it's as good as the global player system, it's a solution, then the solution of both has to coincide, and so it's a very deep, like very easy assumption that is necessary is that this term has to be zero. Okay? There's a little bit work we need.
It's a necessary condition.
It's a necessary condition. Yes, because why it's a necessary, in general, it's a necessary condition because there's this one, and here's a little, if G is
So
equal
I
to
understand
zero.
that if they were zero,
Mhm.
you could go the same system equation.
No, here, if you have this is equal to zero, and this is not completely equal to zero, this is incomplete.
Okay.
Yes, if both is equal to zero, in particular, if there's no terminal cost, it's equal to it's equivalent. Yeah, you have really to work to see if it is equal, then the control is also solution of the global system. So the optimal control that derives here are equal if H is supposed to become like then this means that this and this coincide so that they're equal up to zero and
Depends on time.
yes, so there's a bit work in general. Yeah. In the case where there's N is of separate form, if the running course is equal to something dependent just on alpha and something just on N, then there's equivalence. Then both assumptions are the same as this and this are equal to zero. In this case, you have a characterization of F, which is that satisfies it. Yep, and then it is equivalent to F. So you got some necessary sufficient condition in case of the separate.
The first bullet refers to a measure n.
Hmm?
What is that measure?
This is for all. You need that it's that.
It
Yes,
says it's an identity.
yes. And we you can show that in general it is not satisfied. What you have is also in general this is also an obvious formula, but it's easy to look at it because if we are L on separate form, then we have an upper bound. It's the difference between the Nash equilibrium and optimal social cost that depends on this integral of the derivative. But means that if this is equal to zero, then they are equal. Okay, if G is not equal to zero, then it's not the same. They are not just equal to zero. Not large.
It said an upper bar, but how is it an upper bar? Because n bar depends on upper bar. It's specific to upper bar, no?
Yes. Yes, it depends. So this means that for a Nash equilibrium, the difference is bounded by
So it's
Right,
not
system.
calculating an upper bar. It doesn't
not-
say it's less than 5.
no, you are right. But what we can say is indeed that if we have this assumption, then it's equal to zero. Okay, but you see it's the same, you have the same down here, just with another constant that depends on L and F and T and
But if it's equals to 0, then this is just efficiency.
yes. No, but if it's equal to zero here, we have zero here.
So it doesn't go above the expectation.
your derivative, right? This is the main thing here.
Right.
That the integral of the df dm weighted with m will be 0. That's the main thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
If it's equal to 0, then the difference
If
is
it's larger than 0 squared, then you do not expect
yes,
do not expect get rid of the central time.
yes. This is the same thing. See, so if it's not equal to 0, then
This
there's a
is
difference.
specific for this method.
Yeah, for this functional form,
It's allowed,
and for this functional form.
it's allowed in Nash equilibrium, but perhaps there is a good Nash equilibrium which will enable you to get rid of the. Some Nash equilibria are allowed.
But not so much equilibrium that you get to open everybody needs to be.
Have a Nash
And that's
equilibrium such
equilibrium
that
that you can compute by your.
so on the left you have a Nash equilibrium, right? So
Physics.
yes, and that m corresponds to the Nash equilibrium.
Yes,
And if you have a Nash equilibrium, so such that that integral that you have of the f to the n is 0, then you can get rid of the.
yes.
Okay. What is it?
Yeah. Okay. But that I have some application, but I'm sure.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's in words. You
Yeah.
Describe a game where an efficient game and an inefficient game.
So an efficient game, so most of the time, games are not efficient. Here, look here, what is efficient, if it A is separate, then the only way to have efficiency is that there is no A. If it depends not on X, so if you have just here a cost that depends on M alone, then it cannot be efficient. So most of the time, it is not. We have some other example, and most of the time it is efficient only in the only if it's not.
Because when you take the derivative, whatever the integral will be something positive.
Maybe the result is not, that is just to say how inefficient. Quantity.
Yes, the main result is this, to say in general, if it's a separate case, you can show that in general it's not efficient if you have something that depends on it. Let's see. After that, we try to look a little bit further to see, are we able to understand that, right? In particular, because it's all the examples that we
What's the
had,
difference between the upper and lower bound? It's the same integral.
it's exactly the same, right? Yes, but
And
this
the
is
constant is lower point.
the constant, yes, this constant depends on T and on every day. This is a global constant.
And even the constant and T, equation of the game.
And also on alien. If you have some part with G, the G part is a little bit different here and here, but it's not so.
F, I will just remember, F is not one of the primitives of the game.
F
But the
is
primitives are L in G.
F,
But the idea that you have to start with the presentation, I don't have to start with the presentation.
F was the. This means that here your cost function, this is the cost function here, here you have L plus F.
I'm just trying to see what is it, but if the constant depends on the primitives of the game, so in what way is it a constant?
In what way it is a constant? Because it's a constant on this and on this and on this. So, yes.
L zero,
That
yes,
will
it
depend
means
on.
that it does not depend on alpha
Alpha is not the current.
or not depends on m bar. It should
Alpha
depend
is not the
on,
current. Alpha is the variable.
yes, alpha is some, here alpha bar is some Nash equilibriums.
Then you know the.
If you fix the game,
Yeah, but there is a constant C.
And the question, I guess, is why do you call it a constant when it depends on the game?
It's not
Right.
a universal constant.
Doesn't depend.
Okay, but what is it? The constant in what sense?
Zero.
Yes, it's a constant that depends on. Why you look? The constant depends on the data. The data is T, L0, and S.
No. You don't want to depend
On A,
it has to be constant with respect to something.
yes.
Because the other term is also a function of L0 and the T, so what is the difference? The question, right?
It is a constant with
you're
respect to something.
What's the variable? Yes,
No, alpha is not. No.
no, this is for any.
No,
this
you're
is
right.
for any alpha bar, no?
Yes, so, no, okay. So let us not. Let us not call a constant, but see that it is both are strictly it, and there is some term that is the same term. Did I wrote this? I just say that it is constant, so I don't say that it is a constant. Okay, sorry. Yes, I understand. So what is important is this is non-negative, this is positive, and here we have both being done. This means that if this is zero, then we have something, and if it's not zero, then not.
I think that what maybe after that you can divide the left hand side by this integral, and then it will still be true.
What do you want?
So if it still depends on f, t, and L0, then just look at the g of alpha bar minus c star divided by this integral that you have in the brackets, and call this c, and this would be still true. So what is
Actually, the point here is that this is true for any Nash equilibrium alpha bar. That's true.
Yes,
That's the point, right?
yes.
So in that sense, this is very,
Yes.
this is very
The
constant.
C does not depend on alpha. Yeah.
So that's the answer.
So you want to say that this difference is
Bounded.
divided by the integral is bounded?
exactly?
You cannot get this the ratio between the difference, inefficiency difference and the integral the ratio is bounded.
Condition that you showed.
Okay,
If I'm not mistaken, physics behave this way, right? In general, physics, physical problems are like that. Like that in what sense? Well, in the sense that if you look at the formulation of the problem, it really reminds me of the way that physics works. You have some kind of a minimal action, and you try to minimize some Lagrangian or something like that, and the particles choose the path that minimizes their transform. So
You make calculus of variation. Calculus of variation.
yeah. So if you take the functions that appear in the physics as an L, then this condition works, right?
I know.
Or if someone chooses they have control over something.
You know, one way to see physics is that way of.
Yeah, but usually when we developed the Hamiltonian equation in physics, you just control the end of the time, right?
Yes,
The last time. Now you have another parameter.
generally you don't necessarily fail, and you are
Yes, is a
not interacting with the others, and maybe the f is 0, and then
yes, that.
thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
If you have more questions, then discuss it over a plate of speaking.
I've been
So, what's the example